Sicilian defense, Canal attack, 3, Nc6 4.O-O Bd7 5.Re1 Nf6 6.C3 A67.Bf1 Bg4 8.H3. Balanced. Neither player ever had an advantage. That game was pretty competitive. Both players had an amazing opening. Sharp games are frequently the result of starting with the king's pawn, since it dominates the center and frees up the bishop and queen on the light squares. The c-pawn in the Sicilian defense controls the d4 square. Nf3 moves the knight toward the center in anticipation of a pawn push on d4, where it will be ready to retake the piece if black captures on d4. Nc6 aids in maintaining control over the d4 and e5 squares. bb5 engages in a knight on c6 attack while getting ready to castle kingside. d6 controls the e5 square, supports the c5 pawn and allows the light-squared bishop to develop. Castling gets the king out of the center and activates the rook. bd7 develops the light-squared bishop and unpins the knight on c6. 1 rupee activates the rook and supports the e4 pawn. Nf6 develops the knight toward the center, attacks the e4 pawn and controls the d5 square. c3 controls the d4 square and prepares the d4 pawn push. a6 attacks the bishop on b5 and prepares the b5 pawn push. bf1 retreats the bishop to the king's side. White may fianchetto this bishop to g2 in the future after g2 g3. bg4 pins the knight and moves the bishop to a more aggressive square. h3 forces the bishop to decide, exchange or retreat. This is an equal trade. Backs off. The bishop is prepared to grow into a functional square. The bishop will be better off as a result of this. By positioning the bishop on a potent diagonal, this fianchettos the bishop. By growing a bishop from its initial square, this activates it. Among the best actions. It is quite good. While not a mistake, that is also not the wisest course of action. That's good. Castling gets the king to a safer square, out of the center of the board, while also developing a rook. Castling to the same side of the board as the opponent avoids some of the attacking associated with opposite side castling. It is good. This develops a knight off its starting square, getting it into the action. It is the last book move. Balanced. Neither player ever had an advantage. That game was pretty competitive. Both players had an amazing opening.